Hey guys, so for today's video I'm going to be talking about traveling with a young infant in the middle of the pandemic. So my husband and I just got back from traveling to Belize with our 3-month-old baby. So I'm going to be giving you some tips and advice and things that we learned, things that we did well, and things that we probably could have done differently. And I'm actually going to be traveling again next month in February of 2021 to the East Coast from the West Coast to visit family, and I'm going to be flying alone that time. So far I don't have any experience with traveling alone with an infant. I had my husband to help, and it's definitely easier if you have 2 parents for 1 child traveling, so I will hopefully be learning even more. But it was a good practice run for us. It was a good practice run for me to have my husband to help with the travel, and now I know a little bit better what to expect when I travel alone next month. The first thing that I want to touch on is to make sure that you are protected. So our babies, they're not able to wear masks, they're not able to use PPE, so it's really important that you as a parent protect yourself, and that is going to help protect your child. So some of the things that we brought with us that we found essential were, first of all, hand sanitizer, a definite must. We kept this in the stroller, and it was super easy to just grab it and sanitize anytime we touched anything. So after going through security, if we touched the button to the elevator, we use hand sanitizer. If we went to the bathroom, we use hand sanitizer. Even after washing our hands, if we touched the water fountain, anything, just anytime we touched anything, we sanitized after. Better to be extra safe than sorry. And then the next thing is an N95 mask. So when it comes to masks, this is the best that you're going to be able to find pretty much. Second best would be a surgical mask, and then third best would just be like a fabric mask. But these can be really hard to find sometimes. I think we just got these off of Amazon. You can get them, sometimes they're sold out. So if you're not able to get your hands on N95s, the next best thing is going to be surgical masks, which are just the disposable, similar to this material, but they're a little more thin and they're not quite as sufficient at keeping out pathogens. And then if all else fails and you can't find any sort of surgical or N95, you can use a cloth mask. It's just not going to be as effective. But when we're living in a pandemic, anything is better than nothing. So as long as you keep your mouth and nose covered, that's another huge thing. The number of times where I see people walking around the airport like this, if you're gonna do that, you might as well not even wear a mask because my husband is laughing in the background. We're both nurses. This is not meant to be medical advice, by the way. Whether or not you should or want to travel during the pandemic should be something you discuss with your child's pediatrician. This is just personal information that we found out worked for us. But yes, if you're gonna wear your mask not over your nose, it's not doing anything. You're still breathing in everything that you would have through your nose. So if you're gonna wear a mask, wear it properly, cover your mouth and your nose completely. If it has a nose bridge, make sure you're fitting that to your nose to get a proper seal. And that's how you're going to protect not only yourself, but your baby, as well as everyone else around that can't wear a mask, other young children. So next thing, I'll show you how we looked like. So we put the mask on, and then I'm not gonna put it on yet because you're not gonna be able to hear me talk, and then we got these face shields. These are also just from Amazon. And these, they're not required, they're not essential, but we just felt better knowing that we were as protected as possible to help protect our baby. So these go on like this. These were really nice because you can actually wear them over glasses. So I wore my glasses during travel, and these fit right on top of them, which was really nice. So I'll give you a demonstration of how to properly put on PPE. So what you want to do, you don't want to touch the inside that's going to be against your face. You want to put these behind your ears. Make sure your seal is good. Fit it to your nose. Make sure it's covering your nose and your mouth, and it should be covering all the way down to be like sealed against your chin there. And then the glasses go on top. So this is what we looked like traveling through the airport. We looked like the nerds that are overly prepared, but again, when it's our child health and safety at stake, we wanted to do everything that we possibly could to keep her safe. The next item that we found extremely useful during travel is this car seat cover. So it's a little hard to see it. If I can, I'll insert a clip of us traveling and this on her car seat so that it makes more sense. But basically this goes over the entire car seat. This is another item we found on Amazon. and it fits pretty much any car seat type, and then it has zippers here. So when we're traveling through the airport, you put this over the car seat, you zip it shut. It has built-in air holes on the side so that she's still getting a little bit of air. And then it has a handle part up here so you can still grab the handle like from the top. And we really like this because it's clear, so we're able to see her and keep an eye on her during travel, but she's protected from any splashes, or if anyone's coughing or sneezing around her, she just has an extra layer of protection.
Timing, right? Goes so fast.
And then the next item I wanted to show you that's also useful for travel is this type of car seat cover. So the cool thing about this is it can also be used for a nursing cover. So you can put it over the car seat, or you can put it over yourself like this. And then if you're going to nurse in public, it's an easy cover, so you can just nurse baby right under there. So that covers the PPE portion of the video. Next, I'm going to be talking about going through security, checking your luggage, and that whole process. So for us, we definitely overpacked. That's one thing that we learned. We felt like we needed to bring everything that we could possibly need. We brought extra diapers, we brought tons of changes of clothes, we brought extra clothes and shoes for ourselves, we brought towels, we brought everything. And in hindsight, we should have packed lighter. We also brought the pack and play. So we checked a bunch of our suitcases, which made travel in the airport really easy. But then once we got to our destination, it was definitely a challenge to bring all the luggage around with us. So do your best to pack as light as possible. If you know you're going to be traveling somewhere where maybe you could rent a pack and play, or you can buy diapers and wipes and all of that stuff once you get to your destination, that's definitely a trick that we will use moving forward, is to pack as light as possible and get the things that you can get once you reach your destination, so that way you're not lugging around 6 suitcases through all of your travels. As far as going through security with a baby, you are able to bring your car seat and stroller through security. You can check it right at the gate. It's free to check it with most airlines. You might want to double check the travel policy for the airline, but most of them, you bring your stroller and car seat, you can bring them right with you up to the gate, check them there, and then they're waiting for you when you get off the plane, which is really nice. Another thing we liked about that is we can use storage under the car seat. So if you have a backpack or a diaper bag, you can put those under the car seat while you're going through the airport, so that way you don't have to worry about carrying those until you actually get to the gate of the plane. Going through security, so you do have to take baby out of the car seat. You can't leave them in when you're going through security. So if you want, you can baby wear. I have a boba wrap that I brought with me. I didn't end up using it as much as I thought I would, but that's another option. If you don't need a car seat at your destination, or if you want to have options, you can wear your wrap and then just put baby in the wrap when needed. Going through security, we did have to break down the stroller. So we had a stroller car seat combo, so we had to take the car seat out, send it through the little x-ray machine thing, as well as the stroller. We had to collapse that and send that through as well. So that's something that I'm a little nervous about traveling by myself, but there are a lot of people there and staff there that are willing to help, especially when they see you with a baby. So basically what we did is I took Layla out of her car seat, I held her against my chest, walked through security while holding her, and then Cal collapsed everything and sent it through the x-ray machine while I focused on taking care of Layla. So that's what worked for us. Traveling by myself will be a little more challenging. I might baby wear, so that way I can put her in the carrier and have my hands free to do whatever I need to do with the stroller and taking off my shoes and all of that going through security. But overall, it wasn't that challenging because the airports are relatively empty. And like I said, there's a lot of helpful staff and people are more patient when they see you with a baby. For the most part, there are people that are going to get frustrated, and that's fine. You just can't take it too personally. So that was going through security. Once we got through, I was able to put her back in her car seat, load the bags back under the stroller, and it was easy enough to find the gate, and then just go up. You go up to whatever staff person are at the gate, and they give you a little luggage tag to put on the stroller, and then you're able to keep it with you up until you board the plane. If you're traveling with an infant, you automatically get priority boarding. So I think this is true for most airlines. I know it's true for JetBlue, American. I'm assuming most of the other commercial airlines, this is also the case, where if you're traveling with an infant, I want to say it's, depending on the airline, under the age of 2 or 5, it might be depending, but you do get priority boarding. So that made it really easy too, where we knew what seat we were going to be in as soon as they started boarding. We were the first to get on the plane. We didn't have to worry about walking through a plane full of people. We were able to take our time and get settled, and that made it easier too. So these are all things that you do want to double check with the airline that you're traveling with before your trip, but as a general rule of thumb, yes, you can bring your car seat and stroller up to the gate, and yes, you are going to be able to board first with your infant. Next, I'm going to be talking about the actual time spent on the plane. So when we traveled, we had a layover. We had 2 separate flights. The first one was about 4 hours. The next one was about 3 hours. When I travel in February, I'm going to be having a nonstop direct flight, but the flight is going to be 5 or 6 hours. For the time that we spent on the plane, some things that we learned and some things that worked really well for us. First thing, you want to bring extra changes of clothes, lots of extra diapers, wipes, really enough so that if she has a blowout in the middle of the flight or spits up or anything like that, you want to have extra change of clothes because you don't want her to be sitting there uncomfortable throughout the flight. We also brought layers, so we had short sleeve onesies, we had footy pajamas and blankets because sometimes the temperature on the plane can be kind of unpredictable. For example, when we left Belize, the plane was really hot. Our layover was in Dallas, and it happened to be snowing in Dallas that day. So as soon as we landed at the gate, it was freezing. So having layers and options for clothing is helpful. Also blankets, because if they want to sleep, you want to be able to wrap them up and get them nice and cozy, especially if the air is blowing and it can get a little chilly. So that's something that we found helpful. Definitely extra diapers. It also will make your life easier if you change them a few moments before boarding the plane. There are changing tables in airplane bathrooms, but they're really small and cramped and definitely not the cleanest. So I think we only ended up needing to change her diaper once in a total of 4 flights while on the plane. The rest of the times we were able to plan it where we changed her right before and waited until after to change her again. Next thing is feeding. So make sure that you feed them whenever they're giving you hunger cues. That will help keep them calm and prevent them from getting like overly worked up and hysterical on the plane. What we did was fed her during takeoff and landing as much as possible if she was hungry, because the pressure changes sometimes bother their ears, but swallowing helps to like pop them and keep the pressure even. So I'm breastfeeding, so I brought my cover and I was able to cover up and feed her during takeoff and landing. Your bottle feeding, formula feeding, you can also bring any of that stuff on the plane. It just has to go through security and there's a whole process. But yes, you're able to take any kind of formula or breast milk with you. And it definitely helps the ear pressure. If they're not hungry, you can also offer a pacifier because it does the same kind of sucking and swallowing to help with ear pressure and make them more comfortable. Layla did really well on the flight. She would wake up if she was hungry, or sometimes she would wake up due to noise or light changes or whatever, but she was able to fall back asleep, and basically she slept the entire way. They typically like the sound of the airplane because it sounds similar to like a white noise, which a lot of babies like. This next section, I am going to be talking about breastfeeding on the plane and some tips and tricks if you are a breastfeeding mom while traveling. So if you're not breastfeeding, you can skip past this portion, but if you are, these tips might be helpful for you. So the first thing, like I said before, you can breastfeed your baby. You don't have to be covered. It's up to your own personal comfort level. I brought a cover because that's how I feel best feeding my baby in public. Next thing, nursing bras. So I wear these pretty much every day anyway, but it has the clip that unhooks and it's super easy for feeding on the go. So I would recommend one of those while traveling. You can also wear a nursing top. It just makes life easier when you're feeding on the go because those plane seats are really tight and small and it's a little bit hard to maneuver and adjust and get baby to latch and everything, especially if you're dealing with a young baby and you're still working on latch. So that's something that helped me. The next thing is you should or can bring your pump if you like to pump. For me, I found it just a lot easier. We were spending a lot of time with family or we were going to the beach. So instead of feeding baby anytime she was hungry when we were surrounded by a lot of people, I would like to pump before we left and just bring a bottle of breast milk so that if I didn't feel comfortable breastfeeding wherever we were, I had other options. So that's something that worked for me. I believe you can, on most airlines, check your pump for free as well. I just put mine in my checked suitcase because I had room, but I believe it's considered a medical device and you can bring it with you and check it for free if you need to. The next thing is bring a water bottle. So you can't bring fluids on the plane, obviously, but you can bring like an empty reusable water bottle and fill it up wherever you get to your destination. We traveled somewhere warm and humid, and even with drinking as much water and Gatorade as possible, I felt dehydrated and my supply definitely dipped a little bit by the time I got home. I was able to quickly recover it just by having baby nurse and rehydrating, but you definitely want to do your best to stay hydrated during your travels. So that helped. Also, snacks. When you're breastfeeding, your body burns a lot more calories, and in order to continue producing milk, you need to make sure that you're eating. So if you have a really long flight, right now with the travel restrictions, they really don't offer food. I know we flew American, they weren't selling food, and they gave you like a tiny little snack pack with a small water bottle and like a little cookie or a thing of pretzels, so not much. So if you are a breastfeeding mom and you're going to be having a long day of travel, bring snacks. I brought some protein granola bars, and then we were able to stop at the lounges and eat food in between on the layovers. So definitely stay hydrated, make sure you're eating enough calories to produce milk, and feel free to feed baby on the go wherever, but give yourself options if you want to bring a pump, if you want to bring a cover, if you want to bring nursing bras and nursing clothes. Those are all things that I personally found helpful. So these are all of the things, the tools and tricks and lessons that I learned about traveling with an infant. So I hope some of these tricks and tips will help you if you are planning to travel in the near future. I just want to say that ultimately there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to traveling during a pandemic with your infant. It is a really scary, crazy time to have a baby, and everyone is just doing the best that they can. For us, we understood that there were some risks with travel, but we felt that for Layla to be able to see her family, especially some of her older family members, that their health is not the best. So it was important to us to travel now instead of waiting. It's important that everyone does what they feel the most comfortable with. What I feel is best for my child might not be the same thing that you feel is best for your child, and that's okay. This is really new territory with the pandemic. It's something that being a mom to a young child during this time is very unique, and I just want to give everyone kudos for hanging in there and being the best parent that they can be. If you are planning some upcoming travel, just trust your gut and follow your mama instincts and know that you know what's best for your child more than anyone else. So do what you can to keep yourself and your children safe during this crazy time, but also don't be afraid to live your life, see family if that's what you choose to do, go on vacation if that's what you choose to do. This pandemic has been going on for a long time. We're coming up on a year now, and life doesn't stop. You know, we have these new babies during this crazy time, and you have to continue to live your life, of course, while making the decisions that are best for yourself. For us, it's really important for Layla to get to see and meet family. So we decided that it's worth the risk of traveling for us as a family, and however we are going to do it as safe as possible. So if you're interested in any of the products in this video, leave a comment below and I am happy to share you the link. Most of the stuff we found on Amazon, but if you want specific info, I can send you links, so just comment below. Also comment down below if you have any other questions about travel, if you're worried about anything, if you have traveled yourself and have found any tips or tricks that you found helpful for you and your family. Also feel free to leave comments below because I'm still learning. We've only traveled once. Again, like I said, I have an upcoming trip where I'm going to be traveling alone with Layla next month, which I'm a little bit nervous for, but I'm taking it as we go. So if you have any tips or tricks for traveling alone with an infant, also please comment that down below because I'm curious. And subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to see family vlogs. We've been filming a lot of our travels and daily life with an infant, and we would love to have you subscribe and like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks, see you guys in the next one. Bye.